Hi, this video will show you how to create a personal folder file in order to free up space on your Exchange account. Why do we need personal folder files? Simply because we have more information than we can reasonably store on our EKU Exchange account. Network-based storage is some of the most expensive stuff we buy as an institution, and we simply don't have enough for everybody to keep everything they receive indefinitely. So personal folders can help. Now, if you've never created a personal folder file in Outlook 2010, you're going to want to pay attention because the menu options have significantly changed. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure I'm on the Home tab, and I'm going to click on New Items, scroll all the way down to More Items, and then select Outlook Data File. Depending on who you ask, personal folders, personal folder files, Outlook data files, they're sort of synonymous. And what I mean by that is you're creating an Outlook data file which creates a personal folder hierarchy for you. And in that hierarchy, you can have multiple folders. So we kind of get those terms confused a little bit. But we're going to create a file that we're going to be able to browse in Outlook 2010 so that we can see all the stuff that we put there. So I'm going to click Outlook Data File. Let me just reiterate that we're creating a file, and in that file we're going to store email, we can store calendar items there as well, but we're creating this file locally. So once you move information from your Exchange account into this hierarchy that's a personal folder, it won't be accessible from the Exchange server anymore unless you move stuff back. So for example, if you pull stuff to this personal folder and then go try to check it out with Outlook Web Access, you will not see it. That's a really important distinction. So in the past, the location for these personal folder files defaulted to a really strange place. And that's not the case any longer with 2010. It's going to try to put these personal folder files in a pretty easy to reach directory. Now you can change that. If you wanted to put this Outlook data file on your desktop, you could. I don't recommend that now. I think you should just leave it as a default location and be done with it. The file name, however, you will want to change. And I would make that something that you'll recognize both in terms of its file name and also something you'll recognize when you're over in this folder list here on the left. So I'm going to name this My Big Personal File. And I'm going to click OK. Now as soon as I do that, I'm going to go ahead and scroll down. Remember, your email address and all the subcomponents here are stored on the Exchange server. So I'm going to scroll down, and now you'll see another hierarchy. It's called My Big Personal File. Anything that's stored as a subcomponent of My Big Personal File is stored on the local computer. So I'm going to click that, and nothing really happens. I'm going to click the little white triangle to the left of My Big Personal File, and notice that all I see is a folder called Deleted Items and a folder called Search Folders, neither one of which is really a folder. Now, I can dump everything into My Big Personal File because it is a folder and be done with it, or I can create a series of subfolders. And what I kind of like to do is create one for inbox and one for sent items. So I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to click My Big Personal File and click New Folder. And I'm going to call this Old Sent Items. And click OK. Notice that My Big Personal File is highlighted. That's where this new folder is going to go. And there it is. I'm going to do the same thing for old inbox stuff. Takes just a second for that to populate. So now I've got a folder called Old Inbox and Old Sent Items. So now I want to actually move some of those items from my Exchange account onto this personal folder. So I'm going to click on Inbox, and I'll take just a message that right now doesn't really matter to me. And I could go ahead and try to move that over physically by dragging it over. But sometimes you'll accidentally let off your mouse and you'll put it in a place that you don't expect. So the way to make sure that you're getting all the email to its intended destination is to right-click, go to Move. And notice that these two folders I just created appear in this list. So I could just click it there. I could just click old inbox or old sent items. But I'm going to go down to other folder and just specify what I'm talking about. So I'm going to make sure we're in the My Big Personal File hierarchy. I'm going to make sure old inbox is selected, and I'm going to click OK. And there it goes. Now if I scroll down to My Big Personal File, look at old inbox, there's the message that I sent there. And you can do that in bulk. Say, for example, you want to get a page worth of messages. Just click the top message, scroll down a bit, hold down Shift, click the last message, and now you can right-click any highlighted message. Move old inbox. And if I click that old inbox, there they would go. Say you make a mistake and you want to send a message back to your actual inbox. That's very easy. Just right-click the message in question, move, other folder, and go back up. This is my Exchange server hierarchy. Click inbox and say OK. And that message will go back to the inbox. So to recap, I showed you how to create a personal folder file by going to New Items, More Items, Outlook Data File. I showed you that it creates a distinct hierarchy from your Exchange server hierarchy. This is information that's all stored locally. It moves from the Exchange server onto your local machine. And I showed you how to move messages from the Exchange server to the personal folder file and back.